So, Gary, how have you and your loved ones been, mate?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, yeah,
So, before we get stuck into your rugby story, mate, where was home for you and who lived at home with you?
yeah. Obviously I'm a St Helens lad. When I was younger, I my dad got a job in South Africa from the age of probably 4 to probably about 8. I lived in South Africa and bits around Africa. Come back to St Helens, back to Par and St Helens, and went to school there. Then I went to St Cuthberts High School, and that's where I started playing rugby league, and that's where I got into rugby.
Okay. So, I was South Africa. Do you remember much about being in South Africa, mate?
It was in the middle of nowhere. I would say I was very young, but all I can remember is just being in the middle of a jungle, really, like an housing estate in the middle of a jungle. And it was good, though. I really enjoyed it. It was just something different. But as I said, I was only young, so I've only got, when I see pictures, I flashbacks come back, but I don't remember too much. A bit too young.
Right, mate. So, you said you hit rugby league in high school. What type of student was you, Gary, and did you enjoy school, mate?
No, I didn't enjoy school. I missed a lot of school when I was in South Africa, traveling. Or we lived in other places in Africa, so I missed a lot of school. So I just enjoyed sport. So when I went to St Cuthberts, it was a rugby school, rugby league school, and the two PE teachers there said my brother went 2 years above me, and he played in a really good team. They got to a few finals and that. And one of the teachers said, "Do you play rugby?" I said, "Yeah, I do." Well, I didn't. I just said, "Well, I've watched my brother play." And he says, "Are you better than your brother?" I says, "I think so." And he said, "That's a bit funny because he's a decent player." Anyway, I did one training session. He turned around to me and said, "I think you are better than your brother."
So, originally you were a fullback, guys, yeah?
No, no. When I first started learning the game, I was probably 13 or something, or 11, whatever it was. At least forward.
Oh, okay.
I was when I was younger. Then they had a bit of a teacher strike, so I stopped playing. Then a good friend of mine called. Remember, you know Jason Critchley, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I went to school with Jason. So we did about a year and a half together. Then he turned up to me after about a year with not playing rugby at school because there was a teacher strike on. He said, "We need to fancy going down Blackbrook Royals." I think that was under 15s. So
Right.
that's really when I first started playing rugby when I was like under 15s.
It's mad to think how well you've done when you found it late, guys, isn't it? It's like, because a lot of kids would have been playing, what, for like 8 years at that point, wouldn't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I was quite big then for my size, and I was quite fast and stuff. So that on my side, but the playing the game I didn't know much about. But yeah, no, obviously I learned that over time. I learned playing the game later on, not in the training sessions. You didn't really train much back in the day. You just went out and played and enjoyed it, and I loved it.
Yeah. And I suppose, mate, learning the game, 13 is not a bad position to learn, is it? You're defending in and around bodies, aren't you? So you're not too exposed and things.
Yeah, that's when I was younger. When I went to Blackbrook, I started.
Yeah.
It was just obviously a lot of young kids, they're good, better kids than me, and coach just said to me, "I'm going to play at full back," and I just loved it. So I started
Yeah.
playing full back when I was 15.
Right, mate. And what was the school rugby like compared to Blackbrook standard wise? Was there much difference?
I did 1 year at school because there's a teacher strike. I stopped
Because of the
playing for
strike.
school. Yeah, so I went to Blackpool. Then in the fourth
Yeah.
and fifth years, we didn't really play much school rugby back then. There was a little bit we played, but majority of it was just through Blackbrook, which met a good set of lads and some good players. Went on to do some good stuff there.
So what rep opportunities come your way, mate? Playing for Blackbrook, would there have been like a Lancashire side for your age group and stuff?
Because I was a late starter, I didn't really get picked in the Lancashire sides till later on. So I went for a couple of, you go for the trials and that, then I don't get picked. And then, funny enough, this was well in the 16s, 17s. I might have played for Lancashire once. Then uh, Blackbrook turned around to me and said, "You signed for Saints. Saints are interested you when you were like was under 17s. Obviously, you go to under 19s, then you miss the league. So I started to play for them. Then I just started playing for the A team. Then once I started playing for Saints, because I signed an amateur contract with St Helens, because there's a total
Yeah.
of early under 19s Barla. I wanted to go on that. So I signed an amateur contract with St Helens. Then as soon as I got picked for St Helens, then obviously started playing for Saints first team at 17. I got picked for I got picked for Lancashire. I was first choice fullback on Lancashire in the 17s and Great Britain under 19s.
Yeah, mate. So that's like a rapid turnaround, that isn't it? Do you get a chance to take stock, guys, when you're that age, or are you just riding a wave?
Just riding a wave, you know. I just never expected it because, like, when I started playing for the A team, I must have only played 8, 9 games, 10 games or something. I
Yeah.
played maybe 4 or 5 games of for the under 19s, and that's the highest level I played at. And then I can remember Alex Murphy coming up to me because he was the coach at the time. He says, "What are you doing at the weekend?" Because I used to play for the A team on a Friday night, go and play for the Blackbrook under 19s on a Sunday. I says, "Yeah, I'm going playing for Blackbrook under 19s." He says, "No, you're not. You're playing for Saints first team." And I went,
Oh,
"Really?"
that quick.
So I went over and told my dad, and he didn't believe me. So yeah, so I had to phone my coach up, and I said, "Look, I can't play for you this week."
Yeah.
I told him why, and he went, "Oh, bloody hell, that's all right." And
Yeah, we'll let you know.
never play for Blackbrook again.
All right. So for viewers and listeners, Gary, that might not know, the A League wasn't like a reserves and a capped age, was it? You were playing against fully established, like
Yeah,
first
18 is
first level
reserved. So,
players.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's people who played. If you don't play for the first team and you like players come back from injury, you play in the A team, and so you get a lot of
Yeah.
extra, all professionals, all comes back from injury, and you get the lads who signed 2 years before you, 3 years before you. So playing for the A team from a 17-year-old kid to play in the A team is massive because obviously
Yeah.
you're playing
Like
against
fully
young men.
men's rugby.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't do
So
the 17s, 19s, and all that like it is now,
no,
and you
mate.
progress and
Yeah.
you learn, and you train and everything. No, I just get thrown straight in, which for me was quite good. You just get thrown in and you sink or swim.
Yeah. You'd obviously swam, mate, didn't you? So what was it like being like a young fella in an established fella's environment? What were you like in new environments as well, mate? Were you okay?
Yeah, everybody at Saints, they all looked after me. They're really
Yeah.
good, you know. Still friendly with a lot of them now. You know, it's great time. All I wanted to do was play for St Helens when I started playing rugby. I got a chance to do that and got made some friends for life. And you know, they all looked after me. I was a 17-year-old kid, and there's quite a few other young lads as well, even though like 21, 22. So it was great with me. You know,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
Right, mate. And do you remember much about your debut? Because it's sort of come around rapidly, hasn't it? You've gone from you played an A League game as well, like 2 days before.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think it was Old Kiara at St Helens at Nosey Road, and I think I can remember some of the spectators just saying, "Who are you, Saints fans? Who are you?" Obviously, I'm 17. I looked probably about 15. They must have
Yeah.
thought they come to the wrong game when they see me run out of the tunnel.
But was it like surreal seeing like your stuff there for you, like at that level, and like probably couldn't have asked for a better place to play than Knowsley Road as well for your first game, mate. At least it weren't the
Yeah,
arse end and over.
it's great. I remember sat in the change rooms, and back in the day, I was in number one, and you sat and they come round and give you shots of alcohol. Like, you know, I think it was Pernod or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
like,
it's not bad, that is it?
I'm 17, I can't do it. And dip a whiskey before you go out and play. And I thought, oh, jeez. I thought, I could give that a miss.
But you weren't allowed to for long, though, mate. Because that was the culture then, wasn't it? Like you worked hard, but you played hard as well, didn't you? And it's all part of the bonding, Gary, innit?
Yeah, you went out and you played, and in the change rooms after the game, there's a crate of beer waiting for you.
Yeah.
Who was sponsored by McEwen's or wherever it was, and obviously you played in the Silk Cup Challenge Cup, what it was back then, and there was a sleeve of cigarettes, so everyone was forced to have a beer, even the people who didn't smoke, just because they was there.
Oh,
So
bloody
you
hell,
know,
it's mad that.
that's the environment it was like compared to where it
Yeah.
is now, which is now totally different.
So before we talk about the change when you come back from Oz and that, mate, are you simply still playing the game because you love it at this age and it just so happens you're really good at it?
Yeah, I was a brickie at the time, so when I signed for Saints, I left college and I just served for the A team. So I got a job with my uncle who's a bricklayer. and I went and working with a gang in Oldham. So I was up every morning, 7 o'clock, get picked up, fall asleep for half an hour in the car driving to work at 8 o'clock, work on a building site, come home at 5 o'clock, train Tuesday, Thursday for Saints, train Saturday morning for Saints, play Sunday, back in work Monday.
Yeah.
And
Do you reckon that got you ready for the adult humour and that, gas, the building
yeah.
site?
I only stopped my job when I was at Saints when I got picked to go on tour in '92 for Great Britain because I was away for 13 weeks. So I was probably 21 then. So that's when I went round to my uncle and said, look, I'm picked go Australia for Great Britain now for 13 weeks. I think I'm just going to concentrate on my rugby. So I had a choice to make when I was 20. I had to carry on laying bricks or be a professional rugby player. So that's when I was
Gonna
thinking,
say only one winner.
yeah, it's an odd brain, isn't it, really? But I couldn't have. I probably could have one more year after the tour, but then obviously when it all went professional in a couple of years, it was a different kettle of fish then.
Do you know what, mate? Like, well, since you've touched on that tour, we'll chat about it, and I'll pull back a little bit. But that's a hell of a tour, 13 weeks, guys, isn't it? And you're a young man at this stage as well. And how's it like being away for that long? And how does it work logistically, mate? Do you get looked after with the travel and that, or did you have to get a sponsor to pay and stuff like that?
No, it was Great Britain Lions. Got
Yeah,
picked to go on the Great Britain Lions tour in '92. So I got 3 test matches against Australia, one against Papua New Guinea. So I was in Papua New Guinea for 3 weeks, Australia for 7, and New Zealand. So I was away for 13 weeks. So it was Ellery Hamley, he was the captain, but he did play so much because he was injured, and Gary Schofield took over. So it was just an honour to get picked for it. So it was me and Alan Hunt, my best mate at St Helens. He got picked at the last moment, and we were good roomies for 13 weeks. Roomies, going up with Alan Hunt, snoring every night.
So for a young lad, mate, again, it's like, did you ever imagine traveling the world off your own back like that? Because your family have been to South Africa and moved around a bit. Did you ever think you'd get the opportunity to do that type of thing?
Not really. Obviously, not in the rugby sense, because obviously
Yeah.
rugby was a bit limited back then. Obviously, you have to play for Great Britain, England, and I was lucky enough to get picked to go on the tour as a young prospect coming through with maybe one or two. Phil Clark was there, and Dennis Betts, and obviously Alan Hunt, and that. There's a few others as well. So they took a lot of experienced players, but they took a lot of young kids to give them that experience. And for me, as soon as I got out there, and I was training every day with all these professional players. It turned not turned my life around, but it just really decided this is what I want to do.
Right. So just going back a little bit, mate. So standard wise from the Alliance to first team, was it? I can't imagine it was very much different, other than maybe a bit of intensity.
Yeah, just every time you took a step up. But for me, the game was a bit quicker, and if you could adapt to the quickness of the game, it wasn't just tough or anything like that. I did because obviously I'm playing full back, so I wasn't in that role where I needed to be big. But everything was just a bit quicker and a bit. Yeah, so as long as you could read the game a bit quicker and you understood the game and you get that, I found it quite easy every time I took a step up to the next level because for some reason it just sunk in dead. I could read the game a bit quicker. I was a bit quicker. I was quicker. So I think that's for me that was the biggest difference between the games. It's just a slightly bit quicker, and if you can cope with that, you do all right.
At least you could. So do you know when you see the game at fullback, guys? And I appreciate, mate, like, so you've gone from loose forward now to fullback, mate, probably because you've grown into yourself a little bit and stuff. Where does your game now come from? Because the view of the game is completely different from 13 to 1, isn't it?
It is the way the game is played now, but obviously I was only playing 13 when I was 13 years of age for a season. So when I played most of my games at Blackbrook as a fullback, then I played for Saints for maybe 2 years. Then Mike McLennan, the coach, come in, a new coach after Alex Murphy, and he turned around to me and he said to me, Gary, I'm going to play centre this week. I says, oh, right, okay. I says, why is that? He says, oh, I think you'll be a good centre. I said, have you played it before? And he says, no. I said, okay. He says, all right, I'm playing centre this week. So I went home and told my dad again. He says, are you playing centre? He says, do you know, are you playing this week? I go, oh, I'm playing Wigan at Central Park against Kevin Arrow and Tony Arrow. Again, threw into the deep end, So then basically I've become a centre for St Helens. And I played the odd few games at full back when there was injuries because we signed Dave Lyon from Warrington, who's an outstanding full back. So my position then was a centre. So I did 2 years at St Helens and probably 2 years as a centre at St Helens.
Right. And then how did your vision change then, mate? And do you know when the club signs someone, Gary? How do you take that? Is that like a healthy competition, even as a young lad?
No, I think they moved me. I think that was the plan. Mike
Yeah,
McLennan moved me to centre and I settled in there. Uh, and then they went on to sign Dave Lyon because don't forget, I took Phil Vivers. Phil Vivers, the full back at St Helens. And I went to full back and he ended up playing centre or playing standoff or playing anywhere. Such a great player, Phil, he could play anywhere. So he went back to full back for a bit. Then obviously they signed David Lyon. Then I was playing in centre for St Helens, and that's when I made me debut for Great Britain. That's when I got noticed for Great Britain. Not when I was playing full back, but when I was playing centre because I was a bit older.
yeah. And when you signed for Saints, mate, was anyone else interested, or did it just happen that fast? You wouldn't have looked anywhere.
Yeah, I went to Salford. I watched the game at
Okay.
Salford, and they wanted Simon. Uh, and they offered me better terms and everything. And then obviously as a kid, you just want to sign for your hometown club.
Yeah,
So as soon as Saints, I got wind they wanted to sign me. Even before I went down to meet tomorrow, I already signed in my head. I said,
yeah.
if I can get a chance for sign for Saints, no matter what the terms are or anything, I'm going to sign. And that's what I did.
It's a done deal. Yeah. And does that reassure you, mate, as a young what type of character was you at that age? Would that give you a boost, or did you realise you had something about yourself?
No, because I looked around and in obviously people at my level, and I never rated myself as nowhere near. There was people who I grew up with who was better than me. Dave Myers, the late Dave Myers, what a legend he was, growing up as an amateur kid and stuff like that. So he last year he played at Blackbrook, and we were just in awe of him. Then obviously he went on to Widnes and he went on to Wigan, did great things. So I looked up to people like that. I never classed myself in the same mould as people like that.
Right. Well, that's fair enough. And I think that's dead classy though, mate, as well, to be honest with you. You're probably not understood how good you are at that point, but you're still playing for the love as well. And it must be even better if you can like pull your own top on, like you said, and represent your family, your mates, your town.
Yeah, just yeah. I did 4.5 years at Saints, and I loved every single minute of it. The only bit I didn't like is when I got forced out. So
It's a mad one that, which we'll touch on in a bit, mate. But what we've gone past is like playing in the Challenge Cup final at the original, like the proper Wembley. That must have been unbelievable for you.
yeah, it was. I get asked quite a bit because I was a 17-year-old kid who played probably 10, 13 games, and that was about it. I played in front of 90,000 people at Wembley. As an amateur still, because only
You
amateurs played
didn't
at
shit
Wembley.
yourself.
I'm going to say no, but I probably did, yeah. No, but the
Well,
thing,
no, but who wouldn't though,
the thing
Gary, at that
was,
age?
I played in every round of the Challenge Cup, and I played at Central Park against Widnes. And when Widnes had that great team, and we beat them at the last minute, I remember. And I played in every round, so I deserved me chance to play in that final because I earned the right because I played in every round. So if Alex Murphy come up to me and dropped me for the final, I'd have been heartbroken because
Yeah,
I think I deserved it because obviously I played in all the rounds and I did well for Saints. Did a couple of try-saver tackles to get us into that final, and he put the faith in me. And that if he'd have dropped me, I'm not sure I might have recovered from that more than I even had a shocker at Wembley. We all had a shock. We got beat 27-0. But that didn't matter is in a factor. I mean, confidence and everything, because I knew someone like Alex Murphy had the confidence in me to pick me for the game in the first place.
Yeah. Not on. So, it how mad is it that you potentially your career's like on a one decision you think you might not have come back from? But thankfully, we'll never know because obviously we're going to go into how everything worked out. But still, as a young lad, 90,000 people, which was probably a bit more. They used to get, they reckon, 120 in there, don't they?
Yeah, I think it was 90,000. I think
Yeah.
100 was the odd silver, when they did the
Right.
replay. I
Yeah.
think it was
Yeah.
about it was 90,000 because obviously
Yeah. It's still
it's
unbelievable,
not
that, mate.
standing up areas. I can remember it walking out and that, and just the it was just it was like a dream really. It was an unbelievable experience for a young kid.
But then, mate, everyone entered at the same stage, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. We walked out there. I can remember walking out of the tunnel there. Just walking out and I'm looking outside and the Wigan team studded with superheroes. They had around these Joel Idens and Sean Edwards, who's it. I was lucky enough to. I was a ball boy at Wembley when Sean Edwards made his debut at 17 when he played Widnes, and I was lucky
Right.
enough to get picked as a ball boy because in my first year at high school, we ended up being ball boys. So I walked out, and I never thought in probably 4 or 5 years' time I'd actually be walking out doing the same thing as what Sean did.
Yeah. Oh, that's class, man. And that's what these things are about, aren't they, mate? It's like making the unbelievable dreams come true, and you lived that, thankfully. But is so you won the Lancashire Cup as well, mate. And I mentioned off recording to you about how they were viewed and what people thought of them. But there was like the Lancashire Cup, the Regal Trophy, wasn't there? The Floodlit Nines. So playing in them, mate. How was that for a young lad? Because they were really competitive and it mattered to people, didn't it?
Yeah, it's because it was a long tradition. The Lancashire Cup was there for a long time, so I grew up with the Lancashire Cup, and obviously you've got two great teams besides St Helens, the Widnes teams at the time, and obviously the
Yeah.
Wigan teams at the time when I was growing up. So you're going to you have to beat one of them teams to win the cup, and the Lancashire Cup was my first trophy, actually professional, actually won with St Helens. So we ended up, I think we might have played in the Charity Shield as well, up in Newcastle against Wigan, and we beat them. I think it was 19-0. Well, I don't know if that was before, but the first major one was that. And then my last game for St Helens was another final. It was the Premiership final, which was obviously the Old Trafford. What the grand finals took over for. So I never actually got to play in one the Regal Trophy for St Helens, but did for Wigan.
Yeah. Um, I ask this most people, mate, when they hit the levels you've hit. Is the week building up to a big game even then different? Because I know you've got to tell people, oh, it's just another game, like, and it isn't, Gary, is it?
Uh, depends when
Won
you ask.
Val Shield,
Depends
it's
what
mad,
time
isn't it?
when I was a young 17-year-old kid, and and the game was how it was, and I concentrated about getting up for work. Then I worry about the final when I finish work on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Uh, yeah, no. So I was lucky enough, my uncle, because he was my boss, he gave me a bit of time off for Wembley. I think I had to work Monday, Tuesday, so he let me go down, travel down
Got
London
your
and
sleeve of silk cut and a bit of perno if you let us have Monday off.
yeah. No, he did give me Monday off as well because
Yeah.
even though I shouldn't say it, I was only 17. I had a few drinks on the way home in the coach with the boys.
No, I just, yeah, I can't imagine it, mate. Like, did you picking out maybe people, and I imagine you're just seeing a wall of white and red, aren't you? And flags and hats and
Yeah, when you play the game, you don't. All you do, you don't see anybody in the crowd. You don't look at that. You just look for people. You just see, as you said, a wall of people, a wall of noise.
yeah.
Obviously, you hear the odd few things at times when you're all chanting, but majority of the time, that goes away. As soon as the game's in motion, you don't even. For me, I didn't even notice the crowd was there. To tell the truth.
So Wigan were a bit of your nemesis side, mate, while you were at Saints, weren't they? But I can't imagine you'd have foreseen what was about to happen.
Yeah, obviously Wigan Saints and always special games. Uh, I think we played each other because of the cup competitions you was always in. You didn't just play twice a year in the league and whatever. You always ended up playing in the cup matches. And I lost two Challenge Cup finals to Wigan for St Helens, and I think I lost a lot of massive games for Saints. So there was always special games, the Saints Wigan games, and always will be. Even when I play for Wigan, I saw their side of it, and they was massive for Wigan, and it was massive for Saints when there comes. They were like Challenge Cup finals, like finals, because you never wanted to lose them games.
So I've heard stories about some of the witness greats just being able to walk down the street, mate, and like they'd speak to kids or speak to the adults and that around Norton Park and stuff, the estate. So like, what made you so relatable? Do you think was it because it was still you went to work Monday to Friday and you didn't treat anyone any different to what you treat your own and things?
Yeah, even later on, mate, you're playing a sport for something you love, and you're lucky enough to get paid for it, and that's how I saw it. I think we all had jobs at Saints. Maybe a few of the Aussies come over, they had a bit of a job at the ground, a bit of cleaning up after
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just it's more of a part-time job. I mean, you all just went out, and you was never walked around there thinking it was anything else, but just lucky to be in the position we was to be lucky enough to play for your hometown club.
So how were you told you were going on the Great Britain tour, mate? Would that have been a letter? Would it have been like your club captain?
No, teletext.
Was it on teletext?
It
That's
was big.
class, that, isn't it?
So I'm looking through your teletext and
Yeah.
luckily enough, and my name popped up, and then my good friend at the time, still a good friend, Alan Hunt, he didn't get picked for it. But a couple of days later, I think Jonathan Davis pulled out. And he got the phone
Right.
call saying, "Look, you're in for Jonathan Davis, but don't say anything." So we knew Hunty was good around, so we ran around all the bookies trying to get a bet on who's the next. He's going to take over the Jonathan Davis, but it looked a bit obvious
Yeah.
to me Hunty going into a bookies. Uh, but
Especially all 10 of them.
yeah, yeah. Nobody took it on.
That's brilliant, that, isn't it? So, what again, is that just, are you just a young lad trying to enjoy the experience? Did you expect to play, Gary? Were you told you were going to get a couple of games? 'Cause 13 weeks, like we said, was a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think I might. I think I made my debut for Great Britain before I went out. So I had played for Great Britain on the bench, not starting. So I was hoping I would get picked, and the rumor was because I played for the 21s and had a good games for them as well. And speaking to the coaches, they said, look, if you play well today and you handle this, you've got a really good chance because we're going to take a few young kids along with us. So I was hoping I was just going to be one of them young kids that they took along, and fortunately I was. So I ended up doing 13 weeks on the tour, and not it changed me, but it just yeah, it was
Opened your eyes, mate.
put it this way, it was a great tour. It was a great tour. But Budman's
I will.
holiday.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. I can see the grin, mate. So, when you're out there, do you get to see much of the country, Gary, like in between training or like
When
your commitments?
yeah, so I went to Papua New Guinea, spent 3 weeks at Papua New Guinea, which was an eye opener. Then obviously
Yeah.
we travel around Australia, so you go to different places in Australia, but you stay in a hotel and basically just go to the ground and that. But because I was never part of the test team originally. I played on the Wednesday nights, against the club teams. Then the second test at Melbourne when they won, I got lucky enough to get picked on the bench. So I was just making my way into the test side. Then obviously for the third test, then in New Zealand, I started. So I was playing a lot of games. So I was playing the Wednesday nights and I was playing the Wednesday, Sunday most weeks. So I did a lot of travelling, but I enjoyed it. I just wanted to play in Australia against the best players in the comp.
And again, mate, like we spoke about, it's just the pace that gets better and probably a little bit of execution. What was it like playing against their club teams to their test team?
Uh, yeah, just the same, just a bit more intense. And obviously, you got you've got a bit more patience and you got to hold your nerves because obviously the atmosphere is massive over there. All the Aussies shouting and stuff like that. And but it's just a bit faster, a bit tough. Everything's just a little bit better. But honestly, I didn't. I was only on the bench and I come on for the last 10 minutes, which was absolutely phenomenal when we was in Melbourne and I think we beat them 32-6 or something like that. Something stupid, you know. It was just a
Yeah,
royal atmosphere after that game, and it was just a great buzz, great feeling around the camp, not just for the players, but for non-players as well. Give us encouragement that we could go out and win an Ashes series, which unfortunately we didn't, but we wasn't far away from doing it.
does that give you the real bug, that Gaz, to know that you can compete at that level?
Yeah, it gave me the confidence because the following year I ended up going playing in Australia the following season
Yeah.
after that. So that gave me the confidence that when I had the opportunity to go in Australia, that I've been there. I played test matches. I played test matches. I play against the top teams over there, and I could hold my own in the NRL.
So do you know when before that tour ended, mate? Did any clubs approach you about going over? Because that let me
No,
on nicely, really. That
no. It was because obviously you only went over for the summer for 10 games because you didn't
yeah,
go over to sign because we were still in winter rugby. So the tour was going on. Then the following year, when you took the break in the summertime, you have the opportunity to go over for 15 weeks to go and play in Australia. So nobody got tapped up for that because you was on the tour. That was
yeah,
like 14 weeks or whatever. So you come back,
sure.
played a full season, and did another a full season in Australia for Canterbury, which was, I mean, I must have played 60, 70 games a season for 3, 4 seasons running.
That's madness when you think like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because like back then, it was like really attritional. No one really rested anyone, did they? Unless there was an injury, there was not none of the rotation.
No rotation. You just they pick the best team mainly every week, and because you had to win every week and every games, and yeah, obviously all the cup competitions and stuff and that. You know, I think when I signed for Wigan, I think I played in the consecutive 80 games for him. That's after coming back from playing a full stint in Australia and playing for Saints and going on tour. I played 80 games, and the reason I missed my 80th game is I got pneumonia and I was in hospital.
Yeah. God forbid, mate. Eh?
Yeah, I mean, I had to tell the coach I can't play this week. I'm in hospital with no pneumonia. Grey West. Yeah.
Nuts, mate. Nuts. That. So when you come back, then that's when the move materialised for a substantial fee, won it, Gary, and you were labelled a Judas, I believe, weren't you? Because you've crossed that dreaded line, haven't you?
Yeah, so I come back off the tour, and even before I went on the tour, I signed a 5-year contract as like an amateur come professional. And I went a number of times to St Helens to extend my contract, and they kept saying to me, "Come back after your 5 years." So I got picked to go on tour. Went into them before I come on tour. Got played in the World Cup final at Wembley. After the tour, come back as a centre. Went into them. I went in a number of times, and they basically just turned around to say, "You've got 2 years left of your contract. We're not, we don't want to extend it. Yet. Come back when your contract's up." So I said, "Yeah, not a problem." So I went away, and then I got the opportunity to go and play in Australia because John McCracken, they signed him as a centre, and he played for Canterbury, and he asked me, "Would you come over?" So he's more or less set for me to go over play in Australia. And just before I went over, I had 6 months on my contract. The Saints come in and they tried to sign me and come into my dad's pub where we lived in Black Horse and Moss Bank. And my dad walked out and he just looked at me and because not not what they was offering, he was no I know no need to sign then. I said I just turned around to us, look, I'm going to Australia. When I come back, let's talk about it. So I got on the plane after the Premiership final, and I always thought I was going to come back to St Helens until I got
Yeah.
over in Australia.
Right. So for one, you're a young man and you've still got the nuts to go in and talk about contracts and that, which takes a big deal, Gary, done it. For two, you've played in a World Cup final. You've just toured with Great Britain, played in a Premiership final, all really big occasions, and you're a local lad. and they still would say, "Speak to you later." It's a bit of a like now that seems unfathomable to me.
Yeah. She said, speak to me later. They won't take me on. So I
Mm.
went over to Australia. I thought I'll do my 10 games over there, come back. I had 3 months on my contract with Saints, so I had to come back from Australia for Saints. So I knew that was doing. Then after about 3, 4 games in Australia, the but the frog, they call him, the manager over there, come up to me, says, he tapped me up, he says, I believe your contract's up at Saints. He said, would you like to come and play for the Canterbury Bulldogs? And I went, oh, I didn't see this coming. So I just thought, I loved it in Australia. Played in a great team. We won the minor premiers. Uh, the game suited me over there because it's all about defence. And my defence was quite good. But attacking wise, there's probably a better side of my game. And I loved her over there. So I more or less turned around to him and said, "Yeah, I'll sign for you." And within that week, uh, St Helens sold me to Wigan. So I was
Do you think they
expecting to
knew,
go.
Gaz?
Sorry.
Do you think they knew about Canterbury thing?
Yeah, they knew about me signing for Canterbury, and because I signed for Canterbury, the most Saints could get for me was I think they had a contract where you couldn't pay £90,000 because that's the turn between from an English player to Australia. That's the maximum they could sign. So they was they knew, well, not knew I was going to sign for Canterbury, that they was interested, and I more or less agreed terms with them. So I
Yeah.
was going to go and do my 3 months with St Helens and come back and fly out because they were stuck there off season. So
Right.
Saints turned around to me and I got a phone call saying that Saints, I saw you to Wigan. And because the Bosman rule wasn't in place, I couldn't say no to him. I could have and just
All
been
right.
out.
Okay.
Yeah, I could have. I could have said no.
Yeah.
I'm not going to Wigan, and just a fighter and took him to court on legal, but I didn't want to do that. I just turned around to him and said, "Look, my Saints club now. I'll try my hardest to get a contract. They don't want anything to do with it. They want me to sell me to Wigan." I said, "I'll go
Yeah.
Wigan, and I'll prove them. I'll prove them it's the wrong decision they ever made."
And that's probably what you've done as well, mate, innit? So
Well,
how did the conversation go with Canterbury?
I'm the hardest just to prove a point that you know.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, you know, I loved the time at Saints, and I spoke to people when I left Saints, when I finished playing rugby, who run Saints now, and basically turned around to me and said, "You know, you'd never have gone to Wigan if we'd have been in charge." And so, and I
All
said, "I
right. Yeah.
know that." It was just the people in charge at the time. Wasn't very good to me. I have no animosity towards St Helens. I love the club, still love the club.
Yeah.
Not as much as Wigan. Wigan's my all-time big club now and
Yeah.
team of support. But you know, I've got a lot of fond memories of St Helens, and for a few people to spoil it for me, I don't hold that against the club.
Yeah. No, I like that, mate. And was that the first time you think you've seen the business side of rugby?
Yeah, I can understand why. It's they run as a business. They paid me nothing for 5 years and sold me for £250,000. You know, so I was a good signing for St Helens. I got all stick, but Judas and all that. But I wasn't the Judas. It was the Saints who sold me for the money, not me, because I wanted to go to Wigan because I didn't. It was the St Helens club. So when people call me Judas, I just like think in my head and turn it around and say, was it me? It was calling your own club if you knew the truth. But I couldn't come out and say this when I'm playing for Wigan. I didn't want to go to play for Wigan. You can't do that as a player. You're not going to be treated well in the change rooms. But
Yeah.
you know, as soon as I turned up in the Wigan changing rooms and I knew all the lads through Great Britain and that, within 2 or 3 weeks, I thought, yeah, this is the best move probably made, Saints move made from
Yeah.
me, and I absolutely loved it. And never ever change. I won't change a thing.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, mate. And like you said, it turned out to be a great move for you. So when you go there, is it a bit surreal originally, mate? Because you've been used to what you've been used to.
When I go where, sorry, when I go,
So when you walk into Wigan's changing room, as much as you know most of them, Gary, from rep stuff and that, is it still a bit surreal, mate, when you pull that
the
jersey on the
thing
first time?
walking in the change room is knowing where to sit because you've got to take someone's spot.
Well, yeah, that's a
You
good
always
point.
take
That,
someone's
yeah,
spot. So I just sat. I know I was going to play left centre because I only played right centre at St Helens because Paul Locking was left centre. I was never going to play right centre because they had Dean Bell. So I knew my left wing was going to be Martin Fife, so I sat at the side of him.
Start as you mean to go on.
Yeah, yeah.
How would you been with injuries, Gary, up until this point?
I've yeah, I've had my injuries in my time, but I've never broken anything really. I've little bone in my finger and stuff and that. My worst injury, I snapped my cruciate playing Rugby Union for who was it? Harlequins when I took a spell to play Rugby Union. Wigan let me go, and I did it in an off season. And it was my last game for Harlequins, and snapped it in the first half. Got up, carried on, finished the game, and then went out for a few drinks with the boys after, and had to go home after 2, 3 pints because my knee swollen that much. He was killing me, so I made my way home. Went to Harlequins next day, and they said you need to go for arthroscopy. Got straight in the hospital. You snap your cruciate, your posterior and your anterior cruciate. So I had to come back with Wigan with that news that I'm out for the season and I can't play because I snapped my cruciate after them letting me go to Rugby Union. So I turned around to him, and the doctor did say to me, when I put you out under the knife and I tested your knee, it was quite stable. So he suggested carrying on playing. So that's what I did. So I never had the operation. So when I come back to Wigan in 97? It was 97, yeah. That season, I couldn't train because I couldn't train and play. So my knee used to swell up. So it took me about a year to get used to it, but I never had the operation on my cruciate ligament. I've still not got it done today. So I ended up playing rest of my career, which is not a great thing to do because you use that yard of a pace when you have an injury like that, and to carry on without an operation on it and carry on to up to till 34, another 7 years. I did quite well considering.
How did you manage that, mate? 'Cause that's quite a big injury. Like, even if you'd have had the op, you'd have been probably a year and a half then, wouldn't you? Like, it's still a year now, give or take.
Yeah, no, it would have been a year. It
Yeah,
would have been a year, and I'd have been a full season at Wigan, and I wasn't prepared to do that. So,
yeah.
I, if I come back and I had about 3, 4 weeks off after the injury, come back and it went in training, I couldn't do it. I'm still only going to miss a year. So it was like a no win, no lose win situation. So I just give it a go, and I had to go in before every game and get a syringe and take all the swelling out of my knee, then probably do the same at half time. But over the course of the year, it gradually got better and better. And come the end of the year, I didn't have to get the injections to take the swelling out. I just managed it.
That's that, innit? So you've just touched on Rugby Union slightly there, mate. So when was your first game? Because was it the cross code game that you played first?
Yeah, we got wind that Wigan was going to play Bath in a two-way match, one at Rugby League and one at Rugby Union. So that was the proper Rugby Union. But I think before that, I think that come about because we played in the sevens when
Right.
Wigan went to the sevens competition, which was a fantastic day out for us. We ended up going there and winning. And I think on the back of that, the Bath game come along. And obviously, our confidence was quite high after the sevens, but that suited our game. We knew we was going to go down. I think we were quite confident we was going to win that competition. Uh, just with the quality of players, and we was professional. But saying that, they had a lot. All the international players was professional as well. But we was it was just it was a good sevens team. Put it that way.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was different gravy, wasn't it? So when that opportunity come around, mate, did it take long to decide to go and give it a go? And how did Harlequins come about?
No, it wasn't. I've never played it at another level besides that. I played the Bath game and I quite enjoyed it. And played the league first game, then played the Rugby Union game, and obviously we scored them 2 tries right, and then we threw the ball about, which was good. It was good, but on the back end of that, they just went professional. So it was given opportunity to some players instead of going to Australia for an off season, go and play Rugby Union, and because Wigan play against Bath. Uh, I think me, Henry Paul, Jason Robinson, Inga Twigger Marlett went off to play Rugby Union. and it all come about because of the Bath game. And I got a phone
Right.
call from my agent saying Harlequins want to sign you. And I'm like, we play for Harlequins. I'm like, Jason Leonard and Will Carl. I said, yep, I'm going. How
Yeah.
could you not refuse to go and play for Harlequins, a Rugby Union team in London? Just the experience and everything was fantastic.
What do you like when you got down there, mate? Did it take much to get to grips with it? Because defensively, would you have played outside centre, Gary?
Yeah, I played outside centre,
Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you find that in a defensive system? Because you can look ahead or you can be really exposed, can't you, mate? Depending how your winger plays.
Yeah, well, outside centre, sorry, telly's just gone off. uh, yeah, any position you can put a transition from rugby league to rugby union, it's got to be outside centre. Uh, inside centre, outside centres, the two, they're very similar. Because you don't have to get involved in much. You don't have to, obviously, and stuff and that. So it wasn't quite as hard for me as playing the forwards or playing in a key position or being. It come I say quite natural because as long as you have good people inside you, which I did have, Will Carlin, who was captain of England, and good
Yeah.
people around you, they can help you through the games, and that's what they did. And obviously, I didn't know the rules. I didn't do any ruck in the morning. I just got the ball and did the best I could when I got the ball. Defensively, I found it all right because you didn't have to go back 10 yards, so you didn't have to go back of the ruck. So that was quite I was quite comfortable with that.
Did it open the way you looked at rugby league when you went back, like space wise and stuff, Gary, or did nothing really
No,
change?
it's totally different because obviously in league you've got that 10 yards. In rugby union, you don't. You have to retreat a bit further, and it's different setups. I mean, very similar games, and outside centre is very similar, but they're still totally different games to each other.
So how was it when you went back, mate? How did how did Super League and Rugby League start becoming for you? Was it still a challenge, still enjoyable, and you're still loving playing for Wigan?
Yeah, yeah. I had the opportunity to go and to to go and play rugby union. They wanted me. I'd talked with them. They wanted me to play rugby union full time. And possibly get on the England setup. As the I can't remember what it's called now. Where you play for England, they put you with a club. So I had negotiations with that. But I was 27 then. Obviously, my last game for Harlequins, I started my cruciate ligament. So I said that ruled a lot of things out. So
Yeah.
for me, I just want to go back to Wigan, and obviously they was kind enough to let me go and play rugby union, and I come back with an injury. So I just thought I need to prove to Wigan that I want to be playing for Wigan. So that's why I did have the operation and took the easy route out. I thought, right, I want to prove to Wigan I want to play for Wigan, and geez, playing without a cruciate ligament, I don't think I can much better than that.
It's some effort, mate. So, when new players come and go, mate, because you were once that new player, albeit reluctantly at one point, and now Wigan's your club. D- How do you treat the lads that come in new? Do you help them out, mate? And do you take them under your wing, or do you let them find the feet themselves?
Uh, all the young kids you do, I mean,
Yeah,
I got looked after. As a young kid, you need to look after the young kids. So all the senior players look after the young kids. But when you come from a different club, first thing you want to do is bond with them because obviously you know how hard it is to go from one club to another because we've all done it. Most of us have done it, and that's quite hard. But especially the young kids, like
yeah,
especially the kids coming through from the academy in the first team and everything, they do get looked after on the field and off the field. So you have to put them in a place now and again. You have to man up, but yeah, you do look after them.
yeah. And then the stuff like the Super League fantasy team and Dream Team stuff. Does that mean out to you, or is it just a vindication that you've done your job for Wigan?
First way you've got to do your job for Wigan, and everything else comes as a bonus. So I wasn't too bothered about personal things. I
Yeah,
cared about team stuff, winning stuff in the team. And my biggest failure was not to let anyone down. So I played in a big game, not to miss the tackle, not to cost my teammates the game. So that's what driven me on. Not actually to win stuff. It was like, I think that probably coming to win the Wigan, because even when they dealt the challenge run of 8 wins, nobody wanted to be in the team that lost. Nobody wanted to be in the team, that said they got beat. And so that was set in me when I come to Wigan. The mindset of the Wigan players was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, well, and success breeds success, I imagine as well, Gary, doesn't it?
He does, yeah. Once you've been to the final and you've had success, it's a lot easier when you've never played in a final.
Yeah. So I'm quite sentimental, mate. So you've hit all these landmarks already in your career up until this point. Have you kept anything, or did any family keep anything like programs, jerseys, anything like that?
My family kept a lot of souvenirs and stuff like that. And,
Yeah.
I kept, well, the only thing I ever kept was a couple of jerseys. Jerseys, I thought, they'll come in handy one year. I'll have a testimonial, I'll raff them all off in the place. Then as soon as
Nice,
I
boss.
retired, I give them all away. And I just stuck in my loft. So I've got about 4 tops now I've got, and I won't give them away. But the rest of them have all gone. I couldn't tell you where my medals are. They're on shore anyway. I don't. I think they're There was. I give him my dad, and he unfortunately passed away. And and he kept saying to me, "I did it in a safe place, and I couldn't find him." So he just had
They're
it.
still safe then.
I opened this box, and there was all there. So
Oh,
yes,
boss.
I'm not very sentimental with medals and stuff and that. It's the memories that I look at forward to.
Right. And then, so when the grand finals took the Premiership final over, mate, and you get into a grand final at Old Trafford and you win, how's that whole occasion, mate? Is it one of them again, a bit like Wembley when you walk out, it's just a wall of noise?
It was very strange because obviously he went from Old Trafford and he went from Old Trafford the Premiership final to Old Trafford Grand Final. I've played for the last 6 Premiership finals. So every year in the last game of the season, I played in a Premiership final, 2 for Saints and 4 for Wigan. So in the season again, it was just like, to be honest, it was like another Premiership final because it hadn't taken off then when we played in the first one. We didn't know how big it was going to get. And we didn't treat it as another Premiership final because obviously we knew what it meant. But over time, it's got bigger and better. And obviously, it's the main focus. But even for the first one, because I played in the 6 finals before, it was just like second nature, basically. It didn't seem much than being another Premiership final for us.
You get comfortable in them uncomfortable games, mate, when you've played in that many. I know it's a bit of a cliche saying that, Gaz, isn't it? But I imagine you do it. It does become a bit of just another game of rugby, really.
Yeah, because you get to play in it quite a lot. You know what to expect. You've been there, you've done it, you've seen it. But when you're younger, you don't have that fear as much. I don't think. For me, the older I got, the more nervous I got. When you're 29, 30, and you're playing, you think, geez, this could be your last one. And that's when the nerves come in. When you're 17, 18, 19, whatever I was, when younger, I knew there was going to be more finals. So I wasn't as nervous. So I speak to a few players and they said the older you get, the more nervous you get about games for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe for that
When you
reason.
scored a try in them big games. Sorry, Gary, mate, go on.
Yeah, so no, go on, sorry.
Yeah, when you're scoring big tries in big games, mate, and a couple of winners, is there a better feeling than that?
Yeah, well, I scored a try in the Challenge Cup final at Murrayfield, Wigan v Saints. Saints were the favourites. I was playing for Wigan at the time, and it wasn't say the winning try, but it was last Wigan's try, and we ended up winning by 6 points. So it was that was it. That was a great moment for me to get one over on the Saints club. at the time for letting me go. So yeah, that was a great moment for me.
I can imagine, mate. So we've touched a bit on your rep stuff. So it's like it's Great Britain, it's Lancashire, it's England, and you later we're selected for Ireland, weren't you? Is the Lancashire thing something you'd love to see come back, Gary? And how did you find playing for Lancashire?
Uh, yeah, it wasn't a massive thing because they didn't have every year. It was like every 2 or 3 years they had the Lancashire odd game, then they didn't have again, and they was talking about it, and then they had another one. So we stopped starting. So it wasn't something that we really concentrated on because we never knew when the next game was going to be. Or if we always thought if they're going to do it, you need to do it like they do in Australia, make it a yearly thing, a fixture, and build it up. And after the first 2 or 3 years, it might not be good, but in 4, 5, 6 years down the line, you get that reputation behind it, and that's what creates it. But because we was very stop starting, it was like, oh, we've got to play for Lancashire. It wasn't a feeling of much because there was no history behind it as such. Because you play probably this year, then not play again for 3, 4 years. So it was a bit of a difficult one actually, really, playing for Lancashire.
You can imagine, mate. I agree with you though. If they were gonna do it, they should have, like you said, give it time to establish and
Exactly.
create our own history with it, isn't it? And get the feeling for it that way.
That's what the players wanted to be consistent and fit her into somewhere where you could have promoted and get that camaraderie and get it out there. And it'd be great. Obviously, you look playing against your own teammates, to get one over them. But because there's no consistency to it, everyone just thought, just a one-off game, like this and that. And, well, a lot of players were just didn't think much of it really, to be honest.
There's a mini domestic tour, really, mate. Wasn't it like a week of just getting together and having a good time and then having a game at the end of it?
Yeah.
So what was the rest of the world game like, mate? And how did that come about?
Oh, yeah, that was a good trip. I flew to Australia. Me and Jason Robinson
Yeah.
for a week. Flew over there, 2 day games, played in a game, and flew back and played for Wigan again. Yeah, it's against the NRL when the two sides separated, Super League and the NRL in Australia. They broke off, and me and Jason signed an NRL contract or a Super League one. So we was going to go to Australia, all come back together. But they had no representative games because there was nobody to play against. So they asked, could we play in a world, Australia v the rest of the world? So me and Jason, I think Lee Jackson might have been already over there at the time playing for Newcastle, I think. And so we flew over mid-season, me and Jason. As I say, landed in Sydney, had a training session, flew up to Brisbane, played, and back on the plane back to Wigan, all in a week, which was good fun.
But it was a bit heavy on the legs and on the head, wasn't it?
No, we were fortunate we got business class, so that wasn't too bad. Yeah, no,
So,
it was a good trip. Yeah,
good, mate. And Brisbane,
I've got as well. I never. Well, I've given it away to, but it's not far. It's good to give it away to a good friend of mine. So that's one of the jerseys that I was always going to keep.
yeah, no, I don't like that, mate. And Brisbane was a happy hunting ground for you, wasn't it? Because you went and beat them in their own backyard and like the World Cup Challenge, didn't you? How was that?
Yeah, that was somewhere else. That game, probably the best game I've played in. It was just, we wasn't favourites by any long shot. We had a tough season. We played in Premiership final. Kelvin Skerritt got his jaw broken by Dean Sampson in the last minute. Andy Platt was going to Warriors with Dean Bell, so we didn't have them two prop forwards, and your captain missing. It's not a good time to go. Fly all the way to Australia, end of a tough season. Land 5 days later, play against Brisbane Broncos on a Wednesday night and turn them over. What more can you say? The best thing about that is we all stayed in Australia, so we had a bit of a holiday after that because that was the end of the season. So
Like,
that tenure was all flew down to Sydney for a week. So we celebrated it in good fashion with Australia on Bondi
I bet you
Beach.
did, mate. It is right, isn't it? It's right. It's but listen, mate, you work hard enough, don't you? And the way you played back then, mate, you didn't have a break, did you? You said that yourself. You played like 80 games virtually consecutively until pneumonia wiped you out.
Yeah, that's what everyone plays, especially when you play for Wigan. Even when I got there, even the years before, because there's that many cup competitions. Come to the end of the year, I think the last probably six weeks playing for Wigan, you had to win every game. So yeah, and you're playing catch up games in the week. You're playing Wednesday, Sunday for constantly of 6 to 7 weeks, like 14 games in the space, a matter of time every Sunday, every Wednesday. So yeah, even when you weren't fully fit, you still went out and played. That's the difference between then and now. I mean, they give you all sorts of injections to play and stuff, and they say, "How are you? Oh, you're 78, 75%. Yeah, that's good enough for me. Get out to play." Nowadays, they look after you, rightly so. They look after you. You have to be 100%, and I agree with all that because obviously you've got a life after rugby, and you don't give it all on the field, but it's at the end of the game, it's only a game. It's as good as what your health is. But that's how it was back in the day, and I enjoyed that side of it. You know what I mean? Because luckily enough, I didn't get too many injuries, and you got winning pay then. Not like it is now. You don't get winning pay. Yeah,
And you won more than you lost, mate, didn't you? So no wonder you're smiling.
Yeah, the cup games, you had your captain go in and say, "Right, lads, you're playing the Challenge Cup. You're playing against some this week, and you're on a bonus this week." And Morris loved a bonus to give the lads to get the lads up before they went out. Gray West said, "Well, the coach would come and give a speech." And he said about going out, then Morris would come and say, "Lads, you're on a bonus this week." And you get a big cheer. More than anything, doesn't it?
So we brushed over it a little bit, mate. So sorry to go back a bit, but a World Cup final at Wembley isn't really much bigger than that, other than a Great Britain tour, which it must be very close to.
Yeah, yes, they went on the tour first and played in the World Cup final a couple of months later. It was a close game, and it was just one of those things. Of those games, we had a Great Britain side back then. And obviously, I think this game was on YouTube, so I ended up watching clips of it. I'm just looking at the Australian team. I'm thinking, wow, how did we come close to that? It was just phenomenal. The amount of quality players they had in that team. We did all right against them. Then when Jonathan did it, we played him. I think the year later we beat him at Wembley when Shoreham got sent off with 12 men. That game was phenomenal as well with the quality players the Australians had. So I've had a lot of good games against Australia and good memories, especially at Wembley when we ended up turning them over with 12 men. That's up there with one of the best games I played in as well.
I like it, mate. So in 2000, when you signed a new deal with Wigan, mate, that come with the agreement with being able to have a run out for Harold, didn't it? So how did that conversation go down?
Morris Lindsay was the chairman then. He was the that was the deal put to me. Do you want to go play off season with Oral?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do pre-season with Wigan? So I thought I'd pick the easier one and go play Rugby Union instead of doing an off season. And apparently helped Wigan out around the salary cap as well, I think. Yeah. So it was one of Morris's special deals. But I was happy to do it because there's a lot of other Wiganers, not only myself. There's one or two other guys there, and I enjoyed my time at Oral, and I nearly ended up playing for him towards the end of my career again. It was a good place to play at Oral.
When you're in and around that, mate, they want to lean on you quite a bit because of the calibre of player you are and because of where you've been and what you've done. Because they're still playing a really good standard at that point, guys, weren't they?
Yeah, no, there was probably 5 or 6 lads from Wigan at the time when I was the young lads, Simon Horton and Andy Craig and people like there's a few, Scott Barra and that. But the lads, there's Nick Easter. He was there. He went on. I watched him in training, I watched him play, and I went up to him and I said, mate, I said, you need to come to Wigan. So I tried to get him to Wigan. I thought he was going to be a really good, and obviously he is really good at uni. Went on play for England, absolutely. But I went back to Wigan. I said, we've got a player there, Nick Easter. I said, you need to sign him. He said, you want to have a look at him, but other people got into him and they tempted him away to down south, where he went on to have an absolute unbelievable career.
With an old club of yours, mate, at Harlequins, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So, well, that's a good point, that, mate. So that's a good relationship, really, because if the likes of you, who knows a good player, goes and sees one at Orrell, it's a smart move, really. I know we joke about one of Morris's special deals, but actually, you're being a bit of a scout and a potential tout there, aren't you, to bring good calibre in? And then if it didn't work, they could always go back to Orrell anyway on one of them deals.
Yeah. He was just something about him. I liked. No, he was a very skillful and a big guy, and I thought he could have made it in rugby league, But I say I was only a player. I don't pay the wages, so Morris had the last say on that. So I went out and I told him. I said, "I've got a good player there. You need to have a look at him." And whether they did or I didn't know, but that's all that I could do at the time. It was up to them, obviously. Money was a massive issue around the salary cap and stuff and that, and don't think they could have compared it to what you probably got going down south, going playing for Harlequins. So that was another factor as well.
So when your time at Wigan come to an end, mate, was it amicable? Were you happy with how it went, and why Leeds, and how did Leeds come about?
When I signed the contract for Wigan, I had an option in my contract to go to Orrell for 1 year. I'll play for Wigan, and I had a chat with Morris, and he said, we can't really fit you on the salary cap, so do you want to go and play for Orrell? I said, yeah, no problem. So that was like my retirement thing. I thought, right, I'll go and play for Orrell for a year. But I was still playing for Great Britain at the time because Paul Vines and Chris Rolinski got injured at full-back. So got coach come up to me and said, do you want to play full-back for Great Britain? And I went, David Waite, and I went, yep. So he picked me at full-back. So I played full-back in the Test series. Then I finished with Wigan and went to go play for Orrell, play 1 year at Orrell. Then that's when the Leeds chairman come in, sat down with me and said, do you want to come to Leeds? And I says, well, what? Because you had Keith Senior, and he had a few young cats coming through, and they had another centre signed for Australia coming over. I said, what, to play a fullback? And they went, yeah. I said, I'll come. I says, he said, that you can play a fullback. So that's why I did choose the Orrell route or the Wigan route. They offered me the fullback spot, which I thought, because I did 10 years playing at centre, freshen things up, go back to fullback where I started my career, and I thought it'd be a great way to finish it. So I ended up signing for Leeds, and obviously, I had a really good season with them and got voted best fullback at comp. And, so
how would the game change, Gary, from when you started at fullback to a full circle? Had it developed in much for you to consider changing your game, or were you really satisfied with it?
When I first started playing, it was a totally different game. I was only 17, 18. But I played full-back for Great Britain. I played full-back for Wigan. I played full-back, all my time through injuries and that sort of. Not that I never played full-back. Majority was in centre, but I did fill in at full-back when needed. So that was good. So it wasn't a major step up, because obviously you play games then, but you like Chris Rad, he come into the game and his defence was awesome. He brought the attacking side to it, where he was a support running down that he was unbelievable at that. So every fullback, so I just tried to learn. So for me, just watching players how they go about the game. Obviously now you're more like a 5'8" fullback. So that was the transition. So. And I could pass the ball. I wasn't the greatest, but I could do it. And so it just suited me at full back because obviously the body, I didn't have to do 14, 15, or 20 tackles a game, wherever. You have to do 2 or 3, and I could do that. Yeah, so it's been easy on the body, and it just more
I've been
enjoyable.
hoping you'd have to do 2 or 3.
Just more enjoyable position to play, because obviously
Yeah.
you're not stuck to that's where you're right centre nowadays. You stick to the right centre. You can't go anywhere else. You stick to that channel. When I first started playing centre, centres could double up. You had a bit more freedom, but now you stick to right centre. That's it. The full back, you can basically turn up where you want. Do what you
Free roll.
want. Good, yeah.
Yeah. You think it's a bit too structured now, guys, now you've said that.
I don't want to call the game now. It's a different game than I played, and I don't play this year. But it is structured, but it's still a great game. It is structured a lot, and I think with friends and stuff and that, and you do like the flair. And I stopped watching Rugby League for a couple of years, because it was getting a bit structured. Then Jay Field and Bevan French come Wigan, and I just went, wow, this has got me back into watching rugby because of basically them two.
They are the business, mate, aren't they?
People like that, the flirt have gone out, but them two people got me back into watching Wigan because obviously, it just it's nice to see people who are a bit of flair about.
So when you go back, do you think the fact you've had that stellar season at Leeds maybe made Wigan rethink the decision to let you go?
No, I was, because I was never going to play full back at Wigan because they had Chris Ragg.
Yeah.
So I was going to play centre. My time was coming up at centre, so and you had a few young kids coming through. No, because I ended up coming back to Wigan, played for Leeds. Then I did a season there. Then I did, 2-3 months. Then I had a bit of a fallout with the coach. He was a bit of a, I won't go into that. It's different. I had a fallout with him. He basically told me I'm never going to play for Leeds first team, and I was still living in Wigan, travel over every day. He basically turned around and that to me, and I said, "Well, I'll go then." I said, "I'll retire if you want me to, because I'm not going to come over and not play for it." So he tried to get rid of me, so I ended up leaving Leeds. And as I left Leeds, I phoned Andy Farrell up, said I've retired. I said, told him what gone on. And he said, "Give me a minute." Anyway, by the time I got to Wigan off the motorway, he said, "Right, spoke to Morris. You could come back Wigan for the rest of the season if you want. Can't pay you anything, but you can come back and Dennis's coach will have a good crack if you want to." I said, "Yep, that'll do me." So I ended up coming back to Wigan for just to help out, if you needed a player to play in whatever position I was there. So that was good. So it was nice to come back to Wigan.
And then that's when you come and sign for Widnes then, mate, wasn't it? And what was the decision behind that?
Terry O'Connor.
Yeah.
He persuaded me because we were retiring again. He kept into Mick Cassidy's ear, into my ear. "Come on, you've got one more year in you." And I said, turned around to him, I said, "Look, Terry, after the 10th time asking me, I'll come if I can play full back."
Yeah.
And he said, "Yep, not a problem." So that's why I decided to come to Widnes, because obviously they let me play full back, and I wanted to play full back.
Yeah.
And I loved it at Widnes. We had a good start to the season, and we got a few injuries to keep people, and that's what struggled with Widnes, because they didn't have strength in depth. Then people signed for other clubs, and come towards the end of the year, it was a bit, it was a tough place to be, because people.
I was going to say that, mate. Considering you've been right up there, how was it being the other end? And does it alter your mindset?
Yeah, we knew at the start of the season, first half, everything was going well. We was competing against the top sides. We were doing all right. Then we got a few injuries, then a few people signed for the clubs, and then that brought the club up a bit, really. People going and struggling for players and stuff and that, And so when you haven't got 17 committed people playing, it was a teaser to control.
You never had that before, though, guys, because that's what I mean. You've been in. It's still an elite environment, isn't it? Let's not beat around the bush. It's still a Super League team, but when you've got that bit of animosity there, maybe, or interest elsewhere. You'd probably never really witnessed that before, had you?
No, no, I never witnessed that. I mean, even if other people go to other clubs, you still give 100%. And I mean, you play injured and all that, but it was one of those things. You got people had to look after themselves at the time, and it was a shame for Widnes because we did have a good team, and if we would have kept him Jewish, I think we would have stayed up. It was a bit gutted that I mean, last ever season playing the Rugby League, got demoted with Widnes, which it's a club
Sorry, it was us, mate.
Sorry.
Sorry, it was us.
No, he was at that because Widnes was always one of the top club for me because of the battles I've had with other teams against Widnes. It's especially when I first started on the sea. Widnes was winning World Cup challenges and stuff, and had some of the best players ever when I started. So I had a lot of time for Widnes, and that's the reason I went as well because I knew the history of the Widnes and people who played for the club. And so it was an honour to play for Widnes, to tell the truth.
That's nice, mate. I appreciate that. But on the back of that, mate, another move to Rugby Union, but this time Ireland, wasn't it? So how did Munster come around, and why Munster?
How many times have I retired now? I retired again after Widnes. A friend of mine, Graham Stedman, remember Graham Stedman, the legend?
Yeah.
Graham Stedman. He was the backs coach, or the defensive coach over in Munster. And he phoned me up, asking me, they're retired because they know I played a bit of Rugby Union. And said that there's a spot available because they got an injury. Would I like to come over and play Rugby Union for Munster? And I'm like, oh, how can you turn that down? You couldn't turn it down, could you? So I had to fly over. I did a fitness test in Dublin, fly back and passed the medical. And they said, right, come on a plane. You'll be playing for Munster. We'll see how you go. And we ended up winning the Heineken Cup.
How mad's that, mate? It's just like how quick things can happen, isn't it?
Yeah. But it was an honour to play for them. The calibre of players they had playing for the team, Ron O'Gara, I mean, I roomed with him on the first night. Got over there, played for Connacht against Connacht, so we went on a coach trip, stayed the night before, and we were Ron O'Gara. And I went outside the bed going, "Are you all right, mate?" He's going, "Yeah, it's Gary Connolly." I'm going, "All right, pal." And it was just weird, but absolutely loved it.
Did you appreciate how big they were, guys? Like, you're aware of it, aren't you?
I played with, and I know they're a big set of lads, but the skill level from when I played against Harlequins to what it was at Munster, you could tell being professional for 6 or 7 years, or whatever it was. The skill level was a lot higher. Obviously, because of the 7 years they've had to, spend their career playing
to sort the level out. So, what is the Heineken Cup something you enjoy, Gary? And do you like the concept of that, mate? Because it's only got bigger again, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. It was good for Munster as well. I'm not saying because I didn't play in the semi-final, the final, got injured, and I was fortunate to get picked in the final. But played in all the rounds leading up to it, and it was just massive for the club. It's the first one they ever won, So it was just an honour to play for them, and obviously the big occasions, and it was unbelievable being part of that squad that actually went on to win the Ireland Cup first time.
That's outstanding, mate, and it's unbelievable how good your career's been. Like, and that word it's took you in that, I suppose, and that's what the pod's all about, really, mate, getting to know people's lives and careers and where it can take you. So I've got to that time of the chat, mate. I've got a few daft questions for you. Yeah. So, any pre-match superstitions?
No, I don't. No, I don't do superstitions. No. Basically,
that's a good thing, though.
Well, the only thing I did before pre-match, I've got loads of stories. I hated being in the changing room, so I'd go in at the last minute, get changed, put your clothes on, and go out. So that was great because you didn't have to warm up, so I could be in half an hour. But now you have to warm up, you've got to be in there an hour and a half and stuff and that, you know. So I just sit in the room, put your kit on 5 minutes before you go out, put your kit on and go to warm up and play. And I just didn't like that environment of all grown men. I just sat there like looking at each other. It takes you 2 minutes to get dressed. Complain about all the wives, you know, it takes an hour to get dressed. Men are the same in the change rooms before a game. You know, for an hour, all you have to put a kit on, you know. So I'm like, yeah, so keep myself to myself because obviously I had a bit of a banter, a bit of a joke, and everyone's different. People are serious, people are not. So you just keep you just get quiet in the rugby league change rooms. Everyone's minds their own business. You don't interrupt anybody's routine because they have set routines and stuff and that. So I just stayed out of the road.
Fair enough, mate. So this next word, the definition is different for everybody, but the toughest player you played with and against.
Toughest is a centre v centre. English centre, Paul Newlove.
Yeah.
The centre I looked up to and taught me a hell of a lot was Paul Lockley at St Helens because I never played centre, as I said before, I never played centre before, so I was always chewing his ear off. How do you do this? How do you do that? You learn from players around you. So I was lucky enough to have Paul Lockley, and then obviously Paul Newlove at the centre played against, a good friend with him. But the centre I ever played against was Stephen Huth. I just thought he was special, and he showed me up once in Australia. I think he scored 4 tries and I marked him. He was
Nice of him, innit?
He was nice, but he come to Wigan and he was a great bloke. You know, he's phenomenal, and he was so laid back. Bit like
Your favourite away ground?
Favourite way ground, Saints.
Yeah. Always a game you look forward to, that, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, Wigan Saints game. Yeah, I love going to St Helens, get the abuse and getting the win.
So if you could tell a younger you something, mate, what would it be?
Look at what? Sorry.
If you could go back and tell a younger you something, what would it be?
Oh, good question. About my rugby or in general?
Anything, mate.
I'll keep it rugby.
Yeah.
To be honest, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, I like that because you wouldn't be where you are now, would you?
Yeah, exactly. So you made mistakes, but many of them you learn from them. So yeah, all good.
We'll do karaoke song, guys.
No, don't do karaoke. Don't sing.
No.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
No, well, listen, mate. You just do one that everyone knows and fade back, don't you?
I sang once in public, and that was on the St Helens Town Hall steps when I was 17. On the Sunday coming home from Challenge Cup final, and I sang "Oh When the Saints Come Marching In" because it's the only song I knew.
I bet it done the job though, mate, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember.
And then if you'd be willing to, mate, a 1 to 13 that you played with.
1 to 13. Chris Rad, Martin, Fire, Jason, Paul Newlove, Keith Senior. Oh, where do you fit them in? Gary Schofield, Sean Edwards, Andy Platt. Oh, okay. Terry Newton, another prop. Mozart. I've got to get Scully in there somewhere. I've got to get Faz in there somewhere. And the other one be Dennis Betts. So Scully back row, Faz loose forward, then either Chris Joint or Dennis Betts in the other back row.